Hello everyone, welcome to the NobleCon presentation of Nouveau Monde Graphite. So I'm Eric Desaulniers, I'm the CEO and founder of Nouveau Monde Graphite. I'm super happy and proud to introduce you our company that we've started in 2012. Actually, I've started a company and I'll be running the presentation. So maybe I'll go with 25 minutes presentation. I'll have a short video in the middle of it, and then at the end I will be there for Q&A and question you might have. So I'll be making forward-looking statement. Obviously, I will try to explain the most in precision our business model and what we intend to do at Nouveau Monde Graphite. So Nouveau Monde Graphite, we have two projects. We have a mine and a concentrator that we're developing in Saint-Michel-des-Saints, fully all electric using hydroelectricity. Is the first open pit that is all electric. And then we're taking the flake concentrate that we're producing in Saint-Michel-des-Saints and we're transforming it into the lithium-ion anode material in Bécancour. We are developing a fully integrated business model from the ore to the customer buying our product for making lithium-ion battery and other product as well. So it's an entirely carbon neutral production and is fully integrated. This is quite important in our business model. So obviously we're at the forefront of mining, talking to impact investor, ESG funds. For us, ESG is very important for all our stakeholders, the community, but also our shareholders and the customers. We are serving the automakers, the battery makers that are really keen at selling a product to consumers that are requesting them to be ESG oriented. And we developed the project this way. Since 2017, actually, we've made our full feasibility study on an all-electric concept, but we have many other initiatives as well that I'll be quite happy to answer during the presentation or in the Q&A section. So we're making the product from the ore using lithium-ion batteries, powered equipment, then producing anode material back to the battery chain and taking back the battery. So environment obviously is important, but also social, local community benefits from this mindset. And we have a very strict governance policy within the company. So our two projects, if you recognize the sketch of the Montreal Island and the St. Lawrence Seaway in the Quebec province, that's where we are based, east of Canada. 2 hours north of Montreal in the town named Saint-Michel-des-Saints, that's where we're planning to produce 100,000 tons per year of flake concentrate, which will be the largest graphite operation in the Western world. Then roughly 40% of our production will be sold directly as flake concentrate in many different applications, and 60% of our production is planned to go into Bécancour on the shore of the St. Lawrence River for being further transformed into the lithium-ion battery market product, the coated spherical graphite. So quick words on the market opportunity, then I'll talk more specifically about the Matawinie mining project, and I'll finish with the Bécancour transformation project. So market opportunity, obviously, don't have any introduction to do to you guys on Elon Musk and Tesla in 2014. He was actually the only one with a plan to build a battery plant over 1 gigawatt hour of battery capacity. Now there are 171 mega factories that are in the pipeline to be fully commissioned by 2029. So this is quite exciting growth profile. And that's without even including what Tesla revealed at their battery day with their intention of having themselves another 3 terawatt hours. So roughly it is 6 terawatt hour of battery cell capacity by 2030, which is a gigantic growth. And it's our job to understand how the graphite market is being operated today and bring it to the next level and the design needed to serve properly that market that is becoming more of a commodity market. So what is exactly the impact on raw materials going into batteries? There's a firm in UK that is probably recognized by most of the experts to be the leading third parties in regard to raw materials need in the future. It's a firm named Benchmark Minerals. Benchmark is forecasting that in blue, you see for graphite, by 2029, it is about 3.5 million ton more needed of graphite. Today, the market is roughly 800,000 tons of flake graphite. So you see the growth that we're talking about. It's a major growth. And for us, we're the most advanced project. We're scheduled to be in full-scale production by mid-2023. So you see the impact in 2024 is it's roughly 2.3 million tons of graphite needed more. And we have the largest project at 100,000 tons of flake graphite production. So it's quite significant growth. There's also growth in other minerals, but graphite is little north of 1 kilogram of graphite needed per kilowatt hour of battery capacity. So for a Tesla of 100 kilowatt hour, it's roughly 120 kilogram of graphite. So quite significant demand. And also there's a lot of different chemistries in lithium-ion batteries, and there's a lot of other technologies than lithium-ion batteries. There's a lot of noise today about new technologies. Almost every week there's a new patents, a new press release and all that. The important thing to know, lithium-ion chemistry as it is today, it was invented in 1974 by John Goodenough, a fellow American in Texas. And it's only Sony in the 90s who started to commercialize the lithium-ion chemistry. And during all those years, there was a lot of work at maybe making other kind of anodes, lithium metal anodes like the solid state is trying to do, the silicon anodes, what everyone's trying to do since decades. What is important for us as raw material supplier, 100% of the 171 mega factory getting built today are all using graphite in the anode. So it's about 95% graphite, a little bit of silicon, and the companies are trying to adding silicon to actually increase capacity without hurting the cycle life and the safety of the batteries. So a lot of companies, including Tesla, are trying to diversify their cathode procurement. So you see Tesla starting to purchase some LFP cells in China to reduce costs and also diversify from the NCA to remove the dependence on nickel a little bit. But on the anode side, graphite is used anywhere. So what is the impact of that demand and offer situation on the graphite market? Benchmark again is forecasting that by 2023, you remember the year we are getting into production, and we are included in those calculations. If you include all projects that can seriously come online, minus the demand increase, by 2023, we have a shortage, like a supply deficit of 100,000 tons of graphite. So quite significant impact that we expect on pricing. Obviously, personally, I'm convinced that the impact on price on graphite will start to be massive in 2023. So good time for a miner to get into production and for our shareholders to get the highest possible return on the investment they are making this year, actually. And today, where the graphite comes from? The graphite today, 100% comes from China when it is used into a lithium-ion battery. And it's totally not sustainable. I think that's probably the only thing the Democrats and the Republicans agree recently is that we need to develop in North America the supply chain needed for strategic minerals. The ex-President Trump actually signed an executive order in November stating specifically graphite that we need to do something because you see graphite, nickel, cobalt, lithium, 100% comes from China, the transformed material, and 2/3 of the mining product like flake graphite. So there's one mine in North America. It is here in Quebec. It's operated by Imris Graphite and Carbon, and it's scheduled to be running out of ore in the next few months, maybe maximum 1 year. They announced it already to the local community. But other than that, there's no other production in North America. So we need to get online to make this vertical integration and control our North American supply chain. It is of pristine importance. So 100% coming from China. So if you want to look at comparable, which business model is working today, which major are in the graphite world, they are in Asia, in China actually. So one company is taking a lot of market share to any like Japanese and Koreans supplier. And when we talk to customer today in the Western world, our competition is clearly BTR, New Material Group. They are listed in China. It's a $3 billion US market cap company. They have a CAGR of 32% since 2015. They have great gross margin, 30%. Their average sale price is $6,800 per ton for their product. So I think it's a very good comparable for us. They sold in 2019 65,000 tons of anode material. So that's the only fully integrated supplier of anode material going into batteries. So from the mines, they have 3 operating mines, and they announced last year they are building a 4th one, and they are transforming their product to serve the lithium-ion battery market. All the others, they either don't own the mine or don't own the transformation, and it's a segmented supply chain. So I think that's a good example of what we need to achieve in terms of vertical integration, but offer more value. So what we will compete on cost with the BTR and the Chinese. We can do it in Quebec, mainly thanks to the fact that we have 3 cents per kilowatt hour unlimited energy, like hydroelectricity. Our energy cost is very cheap, and so it's an energy intensive business, especially the transformation. So in our case, we can compete on cost, but that's not what we are offering our customer. We are offering a carbon neutral product, fully traceable, safe in the friendliest jurisdiction in the world, in Quebec, Canada, and to be the best second supplier to all those guys in the Western world. There's no there's no other supplier of anode material in the Western world today that can offer that. So that's something that we are really keen, and we see that especially in Europe. In Europe, this is already the situation since over a year, where they do need to decarbonize their supply chain. Otherwise, they are receiving massive penalties. So offering them carbon neutral product and diversify from a 100% controlled Chinese supply, it is for them mandatory to do. In the US, we really believe what we saw yesterday from Biden announcement that the Green Act that he will put in place will be a massive impact for us. Now in the US, they will need to decarbonize supply chain. So what we are offering is super important. So the growth today that is expected in the Western world is about 30% of what I was mentioning before. So roughly 865 gigawatt hour of battery capacity. So if you do it, it's about 1 million ton needed of graphite only in North America and Europe as it is today. So I mean, there's a market. So that's how we have designed our project in the last 5 years. It's to serve this growing market and be ready to be the most attractive supplier by 2023 of this market. It takes a long time developing a mine from discovery to the full-scale production. So we have discovered a deposit 2015 on the Matawini project, and we have designed it the right way to be ready by 2023 with the largest project out there at the right time to create a lot of cash flow for our shareholders. So a quick visit. Actually, I cannot bring you on site. Usually, I really like to do a site visit. So we are 2 hours north of Montreal in a small town named Saint-Michel-des-Saints. So what we have done 2 years ago is to start a stage 1 facility. So we are in operation since 2 years already at a nameplate capacity of 1,000 tons a year. And we were able, thanks to that plan, to qualify to many different customers in the traditional market, like the concentrate, the flake graphite. We'll talk about it. And what we will do soon, we will receive our full authorization in the next few weeks. Then we'll start all the construction activities during 2021 to be in full-scale production by 2023 on our large-scale project right on site. So if I remove this, and it's a 10 seconds video just to show you what it's looking like. So you see Matawini deposit, 2.3 kilometer wide long by 300 meter and 200 meter deep. The industrial site, this is all our 43-101 that we'll talk about afterward. And we're very in close proximity to the local community that are really supportive since the beginning of the development of the project. This is super important to have a local community who's really on board, and we have many initiatives that we can talk about that to make sure that the local community benefit the most possible from our project. So 43101, feasibility study filed October 2018. Here's the number. I've put the number in US dollar for you guys. So you see 100,000 ton a year concentrator, 26-year mine life. So it's a very long mine life. As you will see afterward, we could either double the capacity or double the mine life. We do have a much larger resource than the reserve we're currently planning to mine. The important economic factor is the relatively low capex intensity that you see there and the very good margin per ton. So, I mean, we are a low-cost producer at $382 US per ton. Everyone below 400 are considered very low cost. And thanks to our metallurgy and the basket of products we're producing at the mine site, we do achieve a very high average sale price. And if you compare that economic to any other startups in the world who did a feasibility study, 43101 or JORG, like in Australia. So what you see, the biggest strength of our project, yes, low cost, but if everyone assumed the same sales price, so jumbo flake, higher purity after flotation deserve bigger price. So if everyone assumed the same price assumptions for all the different products, thanks to our metallurgy minus our costs, we do have the best EBITDA per ton. So making our business really resilient in any sort of environment, so which is quite important in mining. Quick word on the resource. Obviously, we are in a business where our customers are growing very fast. So we need to show them the growth profile we can have on our project. So today we do have a reserve. What we're planning to do is 60 million ton of ore in the reserve, but we have a resource near double only in the west zone that you see there. It's where we're planning to start the project. So we have really room to expand should our customer interested to finance an expansion and work with us on this matter. And we are proving up this since 2 years. And this is quite important, and it's too often overlooked. When you look at an industrial mineral like graphite, you need to make sure there is a precise marketing strategy. It takes a year to qualify your product with the customer. They need to take kilograms, they need to test it, they need to do some expansion when they are doing foils, for instance, and when they use it in the bricks for refractory bricks, they need to test it, mechanical strength and all that. There's tons of little tests to do before buying 20 tons full load in a container of your product. So for us, it took a year from 2018, and we started our sales early 2020, so about a year ago. Like we are now selling on a constant basis with POs with many different customers, but it takes a while, and you don't want to be at commercial scale to do that, because now you have tens of thousands of tons that are pushed by the operation to be sold as quick as possible. So for graphite, you need to have a demonstration plant. You need to have a significant amount of tons that were given to your customer well in advance before financing the commercial scale. And that's exactly the investment we've made in the last few years. So now our shareholders are super happy and confident into financing a large scale project, because we'll be able to sell it effectively to our customer. So what we do in our small flotation circuit that you see there, you remember the flybird that we did, it's about 5 kilometers north of our deposit. We are using an old factory, forestry factory, and we have our own flotation circuit there where we're producing flake graphite. And we also started recently to produce the shaping for lithium-ion battery. We'll talk about it on the next slide. So what we are very good at Nouveau Monde Graphite is to place our tons of graphite with the right customer and have a very diversified flake size distribution and very high purity. The grade after flotation is very high naturally. So this is Mother Nature. I mean, when you crush, grind, float, what you recover at the surface is the graphite, and the less impurities you have embedded in your graphite, you can tap in a lot of different niche market. So thanks to that metallurgy that we have proven in the last few years, we are planning to place our tons of graphite in 3 different market pillars, namely 25% for the refractory markets. I would say that's the boring, mature market that, you know, they need that graphite actually to make the bricks and to line the furnaces in the steel making industry. So companies like Vesuvius, like RHI Magnesita, outside of lithium-ion battery market, RHI Magnesita is the largest buyer in the world at 30,000 tons roughly per year. So, what is public, you know, companies like Volkswagen want 300,000 tons of graphite by 2025. Is just to show you the difference. It's a factor of 10 now, the lithium-ion customer compared to the traditional biggest buyer of graphite. So, but you need to serve those markets. There's great margins to be captured. Imres Mine here, the only producer in North America, have developed a very good marketing strategy. They know where to place all those tons, and now they're running out, and we've hired most of their experts here in Canada are now working with us. So we would be fool not taking those market shares that are providing high margins, lower volume, but high margins businesses. It could be foil for iPhone, like 5G heat dissipation. You need a lot of graphite to dissipate the energy. Like I think it's 100 times more data on 5G, but you need more graphite to dissipate the energy. So that's a great growth business as well. Fuel cell, hydrogen fuel cell is a great growth business. We need to be there as well. Expandable graphite for, you know, companies like BASF are doing great EPS. Expanded polystyrene, they include graphite in it. Great business. We need to be there. So that's why we have a 25% here going in the refractory, 15% for specialty markets. And then the rest is for Bécancour, is for obviously the growth in lithium-ion batteries. And, you know, you need further transformation. So last bit of presentation on our project is the Bécancour value-added production plant. So you remember, we are doing the flake production in Saint-Michel-des-Saints. We're making a flake valued at roughly $1,500 per ton. And then in Bécancour, we transform those flakes and make a ball with it. And the average sale price, as I said earlier, from BTR, the largest supplier in Asia, they were averaging in their financial statements $6,800. So that's the value we need to base our economics on, you know. So we are operating, there's 3 production steps: purification, shaping, coating. So we are doing the shaping. You see the small humans there on the picture. We have our own commercial scale unit that we are operating since 1 year to tweak the different detail. We've purchased this equipment from a third party. We've significantly modified it to be fully automated, and also we are changing few parts to optimize the equipment. So we've done that in the last 1 year. Next step for us is to purchase many of those modules and, you know, just to expand the capacity. This is really a modular approach for the second transformation. And then we'll talk about more precisely, the key process step is the purification. And on the purification front, we have a fantastic setup. It took 18 months to negotiate, but maybe you know a company named Allin in the US. So Allin is the largest chlor-alkali supplier in the world. They have a plant in Quebec in Bécancour, and that's one of the main reasons we're located in this plant. So we'll talk about it in the small video, but what we are doing today, in the middle of their plant, they have an electrolysis hall that we are installing our first 2 modules of purification right in their facility. So we have the advantage of using all the infrastructure, but also using the CO2 and the caustic soda that we need straight in-house in the Allin factory. So this is quite an interesting agreement we have with them. We own 100% of the IP, but they are our supplier for all the chlor-alkali products. And obviously they help us in terms of safety, in terms of HSE regulation, Guys, you don't do that in your garage. I strongly not recommend doing that in your garage. You need to be in an environment like Allin is giving us in the Bécancour Industrial Park. So what we're doing, same as Saint-Michel des Saints, we really believe in the stage approach. So we do a stage 1 in Allin's factory, and across the street from Allin, we have purchased the land, 200,000 meters square. So it's quite big. It's a very big land, 2 million square foot for you guys in the US. So it's quite big land. So we can build the stage 2 right across the street from Allin. So what I suggest is to take a small pause and watch this 1.5 minute video, so you have a more clear picture of what we're doing in the Bécancour Industrial Park. So what you see there, it's our land that you see. We have a sketch of the 3D building that we will be constructing. And across the street at the near end of the picture, you see two piles of salt, NaCl, and that's the Allin factory. So they take the salt and they split it in Cl2 and NaOH, the two products that we need. And we do the opposite reaction. So we are using the Cl2 and then we scrub it with the caustic soda along with our impurities, and we can give them back a brine with salt and our impurities, so we can fully recycle and do a closed loop like that with them, which is quite important for sustainability for us, but also for cost savings. Good. So that's the reason why we are in Bécancour. Access to railway, deep sea port, also to receive product from other mine. Actually, you know, in Africa, you can make flake graphite, maybe, but transforming it into the lithium-ion anode material is difficult. So we may have opportunities in the future to purchase graphite in the market as well, on top of what we're producing at our own mine site. So this location is ideal to expand and make it as it should be, like a huge large-scale industrial project that need to displace a big one, like in oil and gas. So I visit Galveston area and driving to Louisiana, and understood the level of refineries, and you know, you need to be in an industrial park like that if you want to be successful at growing your business in this large-scale market. And what is the impact on the economic? You remember we have the project in Saint-Michel des Saints, 43101. We have our full economic for this project. So now we're adding value, transforming it. So we are adding, you know, value to our previous economic. So what we're doing this year, we're building a 2,000-ton module, and we are planning we are forecasting a little bit of cash flow out of that business unit by itself. And the idea is just duplicate 10 times the modules to grow and build the capacity that will be needed by our customer across the street for stage 2. So depending on the capacity we didn't decide yet on the final capacity that we'll start building in 2022, but that's the EBITDA addition to our mining project that you can expect. And, we are very conservative in our pricing. You see it's 6,500. BTR last year were 6,800. You can, for fun, put more attractive number in the future, but, we need to develop a business that will be competitive with the Chinese. That's what we're working on. And in parallel, it's great to make the traditional product. We need to be good at making the coated spherical graphite that everyone is using today. But we're working as well with a technology company in the US. One of them is Forge Nano in Colorado. They have great shareholders, including Volkswagen, LG, Mitsui. So they have developed an atomic layer deposition technology that we're currently evaluating how much premium it gives to the batteries and how much premium we'll need to do on our process to make this happen. So it's quite interesting, and we're doing that in partnership, obviously, with testing with our customers. So what you should expect in the next few months on our project, reception of the full authorization on the mining project. It's a 4 years process, very well detailed and rigorous from the Quebec government. We are at the end of it. We should expect the results shortly. And then we will start all the construction activities while we are also qualifying other customers for the flake graphite business to be in full-scale production by mid-2023, right on time to tap in the growth. Then in Bécancour, you should expect later this year, actually mid-2021, we will commission our purification furnaces that are getting built today in Bécancour. And then in 2022, we will start a construction across the street for the larger capacity to be fully operational shortly after our mine is fully commissioned in 2023. So that's, and right on time with the y-axis there, we put the battery graphite demand growth just to show you this is exactly when you need to be in production. So shareholders, I just updated that. We just closed a financing with the Bank of Montreal, over 20 million bought deal, but with the over-allotment is a bit more. So now we have the cash, and that's our market cap share structure based on, I think, 2 days ago. Largest shareholder, the Pallingers Group, 20% of our shares. Quebec government, about 13%. Caisse de dépôt, about, I would say, 3-5%, along with the FTQ. In the $20 million bought deal, about 45% of it was taken by insiders. So, I mean, insiders support is strong at this level in the market, and we do have the shareholders who want to deploy more capital moving along for building the project. So quickly, last slide. Western world, largest, most advanced project with near-term cash flow, tapping in the growth right at a good time. Largest scale producer, fully vertically integrated. First open pit, all electric, producing carbon neutral product. The best alternative you can dream to the 100% controlled Chinese market. Your best friend in Canada, tier 1 mining jurisdiction, with the right shareholders to build this project, and it's de-risked thanks to the demonstration plan and the staff we have hired in the recent few years. So there you go. I'm available for a question, Mark.
Thank you, Eric. I'm Mark Reichman, the Senior Research Analyst who covers the metals and mining sector at Noble Capital Markets. I want to remind our viewers that if you have a question, please click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen and type in your question. So the first question is, how will the approximately $200 million project financing be acquired through share equity, debt, offtakes, or other?
Yeah, so as we speak, we do have an offtake agreement with Traxys for 25,000 tons a year for the refractory market. For sure, it's helping to secure debt. But we want to be very cautious on the type of debt we're bringing on board in the capital structure. So we're at this point in time, we're planning roughly a split of 70% equity, 30% debt, and the debt would be backed by our equipment and our mining fleet and all that. So it would be an LT debt, I would say, no funky bonds or stuff like that. And we're planning to apply on the major exchange in 2021 and in conjunction with that potential uplisting, and I put all the forward-looking statement needed around that. We're planning to do that. We're applying for it. We are fulfilling all the requirements as we speak, but we want to, we really want to have our shares listed in the US because it's by far the biggest capital market in the world. And I think there's a strong appetite from major institutional investors in the US so that we're planning to do an IPO there and do our project financing in conjunction with that IPO.
The next question is, how did you land on the integrated business model, and would you expect that 60%, 40% split to change over time as you entertain capacity expansions at Bécancour?
For sure. That's a very valid question. Today, as we stand, Imerys mine here are operating a mine since 30 years, selling in everything else than lithium-ion batteries. So there's about, I would say, 30 different applications they're selling in: alkaline batteries, foil, tons, lubricants. I can give you a full list. Polymers is a very good thermoplastic. There's tons of little business like that need to be served. But those business are growing a little bit, like 5% growth. But lithium-ion battery market is just phenomenal growth. So for sure that in the future, when we expand and we build more capacity, most probably those capacity will be only for lithium-ion battery. So we have a split today, but the 40,000 ton for the traditional market won't grow that much. Compared to 60,000 ton can become 200,000 ton if we transform more material, and will need to be, So the growth is really only on the lithium-ion battery market. And as of today, 2023, we believe we have the right split, but we may change that and be opportunistic with the market. And diversification is super important in graphite. When a customer is really keen at having the lowest price possible, you have the flexibility to sell to other customers and other markets and maintain your basket price the highest possible at all times. So the diversification is important in the marketing. So that's what we don't want to be competing head to head with the Chinese all the time on cost. We want to be providing something different to the customer. Be a good number two can provide 15-20% of their requirement, but then the procurement department of the automakers will be fulfilling their policy because they won't be 100% control in their supply chain by the Chinese. So the marketing strategy, we have two fantastic, the ex-head of sales of Imerys, Jean-Luc Cialini, is leading our effort in Europe. He's a fantastic person who's doing that since 20 years. And here in America, we have Patrice Boulanger, who was for 20 years the head of sales for SGL Carbon here in North America. So we do have experts who knows how to optimize our marketing strategy.
I think we have time for really just one more question, and it is, could you elaborate on the differences between jumbo, large, medium, and fines, and how it relates to your production and sales?
Yeah, so every deposit is different. If you were, if you were in an area like Alabama or Alaska, there's two deposits of significance in the U.S. Those deposits are not highly metamorphosed, so they have more content of fines, and the purity after flotation is lower because the mother nature, they didn't cook and metamorphose that carbon long enough to make large flake, thick and large flake and high purity after flotation. So in our case, the Matawinie project, big strength is to have a very similar flake size distribution to the Imerys mine that is operating since a long time. So the jumbo flake, for instance, is needed in the foil business for heat dissipation and in the fuel cell business for making the bipolar plate. They need the size, they need the jumbo flake. So it's more rare. You need to have the first, as I said, metamorphic setting to make that happen. And the price value is more $2,500 per ton for that product. And the flotation, the purity after flotation is 98, 99%. Those markets are 5,000-10,000 ton in the world, but there's not a lot of mines, especially not in China, not so much in Africa. So I mean, there's no competition for us in those markets. Really, Mother Nature gave us the right product. So we need to tap in and sell those in those markets with high margin. And then the fine flake, really the fine flake are the ones that are micronized further and tapped and make in a ball and then purified to close to 100% to be sold in the lithium-ion battery market. So in reality, you can use any form of carbon, any form of flakes to make a lithium-ion anode material. But for us, thanks to our purity after flotation at 98%, it costs less effort when we do the purification and the metallurgy. And our crystallinity, natural crystallinity, makes very attractive the reaction in the lithium-ion battery market, because there's more room for lithium-ion to be intercalated in the graphite structure.
Well, Eric, I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you for joining us.
Super. Thanks a lot, Mark, and thanks everyone for having me today.